right here. Angel Reese owes Indiana fans an apology right there. Angel Reese has caught the attention of a lot of people over the last 10 days or so after the WNBA investigation was launched, after her antics, after a common take foul by Caitlin Clark on to her.
The fallout from Angel Reese's actions during the May 17th WNBA clash between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever has ignited a firestorm that's now reached Capitol Hill. What began as a routine take foul by Caitlin Clark has spiraled into one of the most polarizing stories of the season.
After she shared out what looked like a very racist social media post out there talking about the white girls running from the fade.
Reese, already a polarizing figure in the league, reposted a racially charged social media post implying that white girls were running from confrontation, a statement that many interpreted as inflammatory and divisive. The reaction was immediate. Fans, journalists, and politicians alike began weighing in, with outrage growing by the hour.
We're in ugly times, folks. We are. That's racism on a whole different scale, different level. I use the term pure hate.
But now a U.S. senator has stepped into the fray, demanding accountability. At the center of the storm is the question: was a false racial narrative used to inflame tensions and vilify an entire fan base? This story is far from over, and the consequences may follow Reese for years. Stay tuned as the details unravel. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dive breakdowns on the biggest sports controversies shaking the nation. The controversy gained traction when Angel Reese amplified a social media post that appeared to weaponize race.
Talking about the white girl didn't want to stay and fight. Again, it seems like everything's got to be about race.
The viral message implied that white players, specifically referencing Caitlin Clark, were unwilling to stay and fight, accusing them of avoiding physical confrontations. The phrase, "white girls running from the fade," resonated across platforms like a lightning rod, fusing athletic rivalry with incendiary cultural overtones. While the original post wasn't authored by Reese, her decision to publicly endorse it by resharing it placed her squarely at the heart of the backlash.
Angel Reese has caught a lot of people's attention, including this Indiana senator who is demanding Angel Reese issue an apology to the state of Indiana, Indiana Fever fans.
What might have been brushed off as trash talk took on a far more serious tone once race entered the conversation. Critics immediately accused her of stoking division, while defenders claimed it was merely part of the competitive spirit.
This is now tied to her basketball legacy, her celebrity legacy. It's officially there.
However, the timing and language escalated the situation into a national issue, especially in an era where every public statement lives forever in digital memory.
So now the stench of this this is forever with Angel Reese now. All right, forever. This stench will never come off of the Chicago Sky forward. From this point on, unfortunately.
This was no longer about a foul. It was about how easily perception could be shaped by a single share button. Following the uproar over her post, Angel Reese had a pivotal moment to quell the controversy.
Well, Angel said at a press conference or at a media session, it looked like after practice, and was talking about how the WNBA had her back and this and that and the other. No, she had an opportunity right then and there to say, "I never heard any racial slurs directed at me. I've never heard anything racist said towards me at an Indiana Fever game, and I do not believe the Indiana Fever fan base or Caitlin Clark fans to be racist." She had an opportunity. She decided not to do it.
During a media session after practice, she addressed the situation, but conspicuously avoided refuting the racial allegation tied to the Indiana Fever fan base. She did not clarify whether she personally heard any slurs, nor did she distance herself from a suggestion that Indiana fans or Caitlin Clark's supporters harbored racist sentiments. That silence, to many observers, spoke volumes. It was a defining crossroads. Reese could have stamped out a growing narrative and reaffirmed her commitment to fair competition and unity in sports.
She didn't do it. She played along. So that's where you get the phrase, you coined the phrase Angel Smollett or Bubba Reese. That's the last two massive names involved with what was turned out to be a race hoax. That's some repugnant-ass company to have put yourself in.
Instead, her non-committal response created a vacuum filled with speculation and criticism. Commentators and fans noted the missed chance to de-escalate, with some even drawing comparisons to past figures accused of leveraging race for media attention. In the eyes of her critics, it wasn't just what was said, it was what wasn't said that allowed the fire to spread uncontrollably. The damage, at that point, was already in motion. The situation escalated from public discourse to political spotlight when U.S. Senator Jim Banks of Indiana issued a pointed statement calling on Angel Reese to publicly apologize.
A U.S. Senator representing Indiana wants Angel Reese to apologize after the WNBA revealed the results of its investigation involving the former LSU star. On Tuesday night, the WNBA announced it had concluded an investigation into allegations of a racist comment from a fan directed at Reese. Quote, "We have investigated a report of racist fan behavior in the vicinity of the court during the May 17, 2025 Chicago Sky at Indiana Fever game." The league statement read, "Based on the information gathered to date, including from relevant fans, team, and arena staff, as well as audio and video of the game, we have not substantiated it."
Banks, a Republican representing a state deeply invested in both collegiate and professional basketball, cited the WNBA's investigation results as a basis for his demand. The league had found no substantiated evidence of racist behavior during the May 17th game, yet the implication that Indiana Fever fans engaged in such conduct lingered in the public consciousness. According to Banks, Reese's public silence and her apparent endorsement of the narrative unfairly maligned an entire fan base and cast a shadow over the state's sports culture.
The announcement led to Senator Jim Banks, Republican of Indiana, publicly demanding a specific response to the news.
The senator's call for an apology wasn't just symbolic. It was a strategic political move that signaled how this controversy had grown far beyond the hardwood. In a moment where public figures are expected to choose clarity over ambiguity, Reese's response, or lack thereof, positioned her directly in the crosshairs of not just sports media, but national leaders demanding she take ownership for the narrative she helped amplify.
The league and the Chicago Sky should have apologized to the entire Indiana Fever fan base and the state of Indiana and any Caitlin Clark fans, any fans from around the country. Of course they haven't. Of course they didn't.
The WNBA's official statement came swiftly but decisively. After thoroughly reviewing video and audio footage, interviewing team and arena staff, and gathering witness accounts, the league concluded there was no evidence of racist behavior from fans during the May 17th game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever.
It has not been reported who made the report to the league. Social media trolls. It was a BS made-up lie to begin with.
The announcement was intended to shut the door on speculation, but it opened another. Critics argued that the league should have gone further by publicly clearing the Indiana crowd and demanding accountability from those who pushed the baseless claim. While the investigation was praised for its thoroughness, the aftermath lacked the same clarity. The WNBA did not issue any statement condemning the spread of misinformation, nor did it address the damage done to Indiana Fever supporters and Caitlin Clark's growing fan base.
Last week, when it was reported the league was investigating the situation, both Reese and Fever guard Caitlin Clark applauded the decision, said there is no place for such behavior in the WNBA.
For those watching closely, it was a moment of institutional failure, a reluctance to hold one of its rising stars to the same standard of accountability often expected from fans, officials, and coaches. The silence from a league only reinforced public frustration, suggesting that in the era of viral accusations, vindication often arrives too late and without consequences. One of the most glaring gaps in this controversy remains the origin of the initial racism claim. Despite the investigation, it was never publicly confirmed who reported the alleged incident to the league. With no eyewitnesses coming forward and no media outlets verifying the story through independent sources, the allegation appears to have emerged from the digital echo chamber of social media, fueled by anonymous accounts and amplified through viral outrage. Critics pointed to the lack of physical or recorded evidence, questioning how such a serious claim could gain legitimacy without a single verifiable source. In today's sports arenas, nearly every incident of misconduct is caught on camera or exposed online within minutes.
And people in the arena would have caught audio and video on their phones.
But in this case, there was nothing. No video, no audio, not even a corroborating fan report. The fact that a major league initiated an investigation based solely on this unverified noise underscores the modern dilemma facing professional sports. When social media outrage becomes indistinguishable from actual misconduct, organizations are pressured to respond regardless of the facts. And in this case, the absence of evidence cast a harsh light on the motives behind the accusation itself. Among the more bizarre twists in this saga was a viral claim that a grandmother in the stands had allegedly hurled racist remarks at Angel Reese. The story quickly spread online, boosted by speculation and outrage, but it disintegrated just as fast under scrutiny.
It didn't pass the sniff test immediately. Why did it not pass the sniff test? Because people in the arena would have turned those people into security.
No witnesses came forward, no video surfaced, and despite a stadium full of smartphones, not a single clip supported the allegation. To many observers, this story didn't pass the sniff test from the beginning. The absence of any hard evidence led critics to label the claim as yet another fabricated distraction designed to justify the earlier narrative. The incident served as a case study in how modern controversy can be built not on facts, but on insinuation. The host of the original video notes that had anything truly racist occurred, it would have instantly gone viral, much like countless moments that dominate social media for days. Instead, the narrative unraveled quickly, and in its place was left a lingering question about credibility. For Angel Reese and her supporters, it was a critical blow, and for those already skeptical of the initial claims, it only confirmed their worst assumptions. With the WNBA investigation closed and no evidence to support the racism claim, the conversation has shifted from what happened to what it means for Angel Reese's career. Regardless of intent, her role in the controversy has created a lasting imprint on her public image. Comparisons to Jussie Smollett and Bubba Wallace, figures whose reputations were permanently altered by allegations later deemed misleading, have only intensified. For Reese, a player once celebrated for her unapologetic personality and competitive fire, this moment could become a defining chapter. Critics argue that instead of controlling the narrative, she allowed it to spiral by failing to speak clearly when the moment called. The result is a shift in how she is perceived, not just as an athlete, but as a public figure. Every game, every press conference, every endorsement moving forward may now be viewed through the lens of this incident. And while fans may eventually move on, the digital record will not. This controversy has now embedded itself into her broader legacy, a cautionary tale of how silence, or ambiguity, in high-stakes moments can speak louder than any viral quote or highlight reel. Amid the noise, one voice briefly cut through the chaos, a rapper who attended the game and publicly stated that he heard nothing inappropriate from the Indiana Fever fans. His statement aligned with the WNBA's findings, offering a first-hand account that could have helped calm the storm. But almost immediately after posting, he was attacked online and ultimately deleted his remarks. The swift backlash he faced illustrates the current social environment where truth-telling, when it challenges a dominant narrative, comes with a price. His experience wasn't just about disagreement, it was about intimidation. The fear of reputational damage or losing followers can push even credible witnesses into silence. This moment highlighted the toxic digital landscape that has engulfed professional sports, where agendas often overpower facts and public figures are punished for dissent. In a world where likes and retweets drive perception, admitting an unpopular truth can be more dangerous than spreading an unproven claim. The rapper's silenced voice became symbolic of a larger issue. When even honesty is punished, misinformation becomes the path of least resistance. The controversy surrounding Angel Reese may have begun with a social media post, but it has ended for now as a defining moment for both her and the WNBA. Despite a full investigation and no substantiated evidence of racism, the narrative persisted long enough to inflict real damage. Reese's silence when it mattered most, the absence of any clarification, and the endorsement of divisive rhetoric have all contributed to a reputational wound that may never fully heal. For the WNBA, the situation exposed vulnerabilities in how quickly league credibility can be compromised by internet outrage and unchecked narratives. It's a cautionary tale that will echo in locker rooms, press conferences, and front offices for seasons to come. Politicians have entered the fray, public opinion remains polarized, and Reese's name now trends not only for her play, but for the headlines she didn't control. In an age where perception can override truth, athletes are not just judged by their stats, but by their statements or lack thereof. The question now isn't whether the league or Angel Reese will move on. It's how much of this controversy will follow them, and whether trust, once fractured, can ever be fully restored.